and $12,000 to cover your COVID-related losses and help you move forward with your creative work. If you're creating cultural experiences in any discipline at any stage of your career, you should apply. Exhibit designers, museum educators, archivists, restoration professionals, curators, archaeologists, history researchers, artists, and more. That means you. Not sure if you're a fit? Give them a call and they'll talk you through it. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, February 2nd. Head to forculture.org/recovery to get information on virtual group workshops, application support, language translation, and more. That's forculture.org/recovery.
This is Brenda Charles Edwards, host of Seniors Matter. Join me every week to get information on activities and issues that impact the lives of older adults and their families. That's Seniors Matter every week on Rainier Avenue Radio.
My name is BK, International Talent Scout. I'm bringing a brand new show to you called BK Presents. 30 minutes, non-stop, your favorite in gospel music. The studio session. Going deep into interviews with your favorite artists, producers, and their engineers. You and your music. Concert previews and concert reviews. Get it all on bkpresents.com. Here we go.
Thông điệp này được gửi đến bạn bởi Bộ Y tế Công cộng Seattle và quận King, Bộ Y tế Washington, Washington Chapter AAP và Wilson Ridge. Cho dù lớp học của bạn ở đâu, dù trực tiếp hay trực tuyến, tiêm chủng định kỳ sẽ bảo vệ cho con của bạn tránh khỏi các bệnh nghiêm trọng như bệnh sởi, quai bị và thủy đậu. Và chúng giữ cho con của bạn được an toàn, khỏe mạnh và phát triển. Nếu cần trợ giúp tìm nhà cung cấp, hãy vào trang parenthelp123.org hoặc gọi đường dây nóng Help Me Grow Washington ở số 1-800-322-2588.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. This is Afternoons with Monique, recording live in Seattle, Washington, every Thursday at 1 p.m.
What's going on? You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station. It's Afternoons with Monique. She will be interviewing the King County Democratic Chair, Shasti Conrad, shortly. So stay with us live until we begin right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Tune in this Friday. We got some live basketball for you. Metro League action going on. From Rainier Beach High School as they host the West Seattle Wildcats at 7 o'clock. You can check out the girls, and that'll feature the 18th ranked West Seattle team. And then at 8:30 live on Rainier Avenue Radio as well, the boys featuring number 5 West Seattle and number 8 Rainier Beach. Only one loss between the both clubs right there. So it should be a great game. Both the boys and the girls live this Friday on Rainier Avenue Radio. Girls at 7 p.m. and the boys at 8:30. Again, we're live on Rainier Avenue Radio, Afternoons with Monique. And here is your host.
Good afternoon, Seattle. This is Monique Lee from the Afternoons with Monique show. You're on Rainier Avenue Radio, and today I have the pleasure of inviting one of the community leader, Shasti Conrad, who is currently the King County chair of the Democratic Party and also owner of a political consulting firm called Mission Accomplice. Please welcome to my show, Miss Shasti Conrad.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing well. It's so great to be with you.
Yeah, what a special month we have, right? Martin Luther King Day just passed, and we are celebrating. What is the theme of this month called? Do you know what January is like? Black History Month, isn't it?
February is Black
February is?
History Month, yes. But yes, we did just have MLK weekend, and today is the 1 year anniversary of inauguration of the Biden administration. And yes, and I can't believe we're already almost a month into 2022.
Right? Almost, yeah. So I actually never get a chance to meet you. This is our first time meeting on StreamYard, I suppose. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be a political mover and shaker in this town.
Yes. So my background has mostly been in politics and in government. I went to Seattle University, which is what brought me up to the Seattle area. And during my senior year in college, Barack Obama decided to run for president. And so I jumped on that campaign and worked out of the Everett Labor Temple as an organizer. And then when he won, I was selected to go to the White House to be in the first class of Obama White House interns in the summer of 2009. And that sort of just set off the trajectory where then I got a job after my internship, and I worked in the Office of Public Engagement at the White House and for President Obama's senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett. And I had an office in the West Wing. And then it was a really special time. It was at the beginning of the administration. And so there was still like a lot of hope. It was really exciting that it was first Black president of the United States. And, you know, we were engaged in, you know, trying to get universal health care passed and all of that. And so there was just a lot of really exciting, like, just a sense of opportunity, you know, that was there at that time. And I left to go work on his reelection campaign in Chicago. And then I went to graduate school and studied sort of public affairs and urban policy, and worked for a couple of different nonprofit organizations. And then in 2016, I got on the Bernie Sanders campaign and traveled the country doing events for him. And so that sort of just work kept me engaged in politics and you know, meeting a lot of people in this space. And I fell in love with it. You know, I really loved meeting people and talking about the ways in which we can improve our communities. And that's been the real backbone of my work.
So I know that you went to graduate school, just like you just said. Where did you go to obtain, and what degree did you get?
I got a master's in public affairs at Princeton University. And it was a 2-year degree program, and just a really great opportunity. About 60 students get selected each year, and a full ride scholarship if you get into the program. And and I met some of the, you know, brightest, you know, policy minds in the country who now are working. Several of them have run for office, and a number of them are working in different congressional offices and leading different organizations. And it's, you know, it's really exciting to be a part of a community like that.
Absolutely. That's amazing. We got a Fulbright scholar here. You know, at one point I wanted to get one of those special scholarship to, you know, go further too. But wow, what amazing career path you've had so far. And locally, I know that. So you supported the Obama administration, and after that, by the way, were you involved both in local politics and national politics when Obama was in office, or is it all focused on Obama administration?
Yeah, so I started here, and you know, my first internship in college was with the Washington State Democrats, and so I had started organizing locally. And then when I had the opportunity to go to the White House, I moved to the East Coast. I lived in Washington, D.C., and I had a very sort of national political, you know, view that I was sort of much more focused on federal level, national level politics. And it was in 2016 that I decided that it was time to move back home. My mom had some health issues, and I just was ready to come home and be back in the Seattle community. And at the end of 2016, obviously there had been this, you know, real upheaval for the fact that Trump was elected, and the Democratic Party was sort of very fractured, and there was a lot of sort of blame that was happening around, you know, is it the progressives' fault? Is it centrist? Is it this? Is it that? And my home district at the time was the 37th legislative district, which Pramila Jayapal had been the state senator for. And then she, that year, the one great bright spot in 2016 was she was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. And so that meant that there was a vacancy to fill in the 37th. So I ran for state senate, and I came in third out of 8 candidates. And although I didn't win the race, Rebecca Saldana won, who I love and think she's wonderful, and I'm so happy that she won that seat. I decided it was time to get involved in the local party, and I really threw myself into learning about the local political scene here.
Well, that's great. Now, I know you are a political consultant. What does that mean? What exactly do you do as a political consultant?
That's a great question. A lot of people are like, what is that, a real job? Even my own mother. So political consultant, basically, I play the role of, partially because of, the experience that I've had, I've worked on a number of campaigns. A consultant sort of plays the role of helping to advise and guide, candidates, different campaigns, causes, things like that. And so I found after 2016, I had been on the Bernie Sanders campaign. Bernie obviously didn't, move forward in that race. And so when that campaign ended, I had a number of friends who started to reach out and say, like, well, what are you working on? Like, I have this project or I have this candidate, could you come and help on that race? And I realized that I could actually I could make a living. I could have some freedom in my schedule. I could work on projects I really was passionate about as a consultant. I didn't need to, be a part of somebody else's business. I could actually do it on my own. And so I just started to kind of add clients, and now I've primarily worked on more like national campaigns, national projects, but in the last year and a half, I've been doing more locally, and I'm supporting on a state senate race right now that's in the region, and I worked on one of the Seattle races last year. And basically you're just there to help with providing advice and helping to build a team and making sure that things are getting done, helping with endorsements, things like that really help candidates, win their races.
Right. What was your most satisfying professional experience?
Oh, I love that question. I've been really lucky. I've had a really pretty exciting and very varied. Like, I've had a lot of different experiences. In between graduate school and moving back home, I worked for the Malala Fund. And Malala is the young woman who was shot by the Taliban for trying to go to school. And I had been working with her. She did her first book tour in the United States. This was around 2013, 2014. And so I had been working with her, and that fall, when I had gone back to graduate school, she won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Wow.
And I was asked to go with her and travel with her family to the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony in Oslo, Norway, and be there for that moment with her. And that was just such a special opportunity to be there to celebrate her. She's such a beacon of hope for the entire world. And she was 16 at the time. And she just a few months ago got married. She graduated college. She's living this really great, incredible life. But that was a really special moment in my career.
That sounds wonderful. I never get a chance to go to any Nobel Prize celebration.
Someday, maybe, yeah.
Have you worked for any local candidates who are now elected official?
One of the wonderful things about being in my role as the chair of King County Democrats is that I get to work alongside in a volunteer capacity, but I get to support so many wonderful candidates. And so the last couple of years, we've helped to elect a lot of first-time candidates, a lot of people of color, younger people. I became chair at the end of 2018. And so I was there for when State Senator Joe Wynn first won for that seat, and Mona Das won. And this past year we were supporting over 100 candidates that were running for different municipal level seats across the county. And I particularly was proud of Hamdi Mohammed and Toshiko Hasagawa, who won their races on the port. We flipped a county council seat with Sarah Perry, and who beat Kathy Lambert. And so just so many wonderful candidates that I've been able to get to know and work with and help support that I just, it keeps me going. I love that work.
That's great. What does it take for a political candidate to win his or her race, in your opinion?
I think you need to have a clear vision, of the world that you want to see. What is it that you see that's not already happening, that you feel like there's a problem you want to fix, or there's something that you see that, like, if things just happened, if these two groups were working together, it would happen more efficiently, you'd be able to help more people. And I think having a real clarity of what it is that why you're running, that it's not just, I want the title, or somebody told me I should run, so I'm just running, but being really clear on your purpose and your, we call it your why. Yeah. And then you've got to put in the work. You've got to, you have to go talk to people. I always makes me, yeah, right. Like, it makes me laugh. There's so many candidates who are always like, okay, I've run the numbers, and if I talk to, like 10 X number of people, that's all I need to win. And I'm like, no, you have to be a human. And you have to go and meet people. People want to be able to kick the tires and see, like, do you care? Are you someone who's going to, if they have a problem, if there's a pothole, are you going to answer their phone calls, or they're, they're trying to get food into the community, or their kids are sick and they're struggling in these ways. Like, are you able to help? The schools are shutting down. What do we do? They want to know that you're going to be able to answer and be there for them and help them solve those problems. And so those are the two main pieces, like having a really clear purpose, like that, and then you've got to go do the work of knocking the doors, making the phone calls, meeting people. And if you have those two, like, I think you should do really well.
How does one become the chair of the King County Democrats?
Well, I think there's no, like, one way to do it. And I think certainly my path to it was unique, in that this wasn't something that I set out to do. It wasn't like I was like, oh, my dream is to be the chair of the King County Democrats. It was just sort of like, it was sort of similar to what I just said, which is I saw, in 2016 when Trump won, I saw the ways in which the party was fracturing, and the way that, like, there was this initial energy of like, oh my gosh, everyone, people were taking to the streets in the first Women's March, and people were showing up to the Democratic Party organization meetings, and they were like, we want to do something, like we are scared, and the Democratic Party didn't really have a good answer for a lot of those folks. Like, the answer was, come to this long, boring meeting, where you have to listen to people fighting about things that happened 10 years ago, and people are pointing fingers. And I just felt like it's not delivering. It's not delivering for people, and people want to be a part of a community where they feel like they can do good work. They can be they can be with people, their neighbors, their friends, who feel also passionately about wanting to see a different type of world than what we're currently living in. Yeah. And so that made me want to get involved. And I first got involved in my legislative district organization in the 37th. And then the chair at the time had engaged in some stuff that just, hadn't treated staff well, hadn't spent funds well. It really had been a mess. And I just thought, we can't have this. This is Seattle. When I travel, everyone goes like, oh, you live in a blue progressive paradise. There can't be problems. And I just thought, we can't have these. This is not okay. So I just put my name forward and decided that it was the right time for me to try to bring people together. In my experience of having worked for Obama and then being on the Bernie Sanders campaign, like, I had worked with people who had been a little bit more moderate and people who had been much more progressive. And I just felt like we need to be we need to be creating something that is also relevant to people. And I want to grow this party. If we keep just playing to the same, 10 people who show up, and we don't build something that younger people of color, more women feel safe and want to be a part of, there's nothing here. Like, this is we are extinct. We go extinct from that. And so that was why I decided to run for chair. And then the basics are just all of the, so in Washington State, there are precincts that sort of are like little neighborhoods, right? We have precinct committee officers that are basically like neighborhood captains for each of those precincts. The people run every 2 years, and they file like you would during filing week, like you would run as a regular candidate. And their job is to help organize their neighborhoods and help get out the vote. And those precinct committee officers are the ones who choose the leadership for the different Democratic Party organizations. So we organized the PCOs, and they chose me to be their chair, and I've loved it. And, it's not been easy, but it's been really rewarding to get to know so many people in the community and organize folks.
So that you covered my next question a little bit there, which is, what do you do as the chair of the county Democratic organization? And further, what are the strengths of the organization right now?
I'm really proud. I will admit that when I came into office, that I felt like the organization had really had suffered under a number of sort of like cycles of different leadership. And it was, like I said, people were sort of fighting with each other about what direction to go in. And in the last couple of years, we've really rebuilt where I feel like people feel like they can come and participate in what's happening at King County Democrats, and they can do good work that is meaningful to them. They can organize their neighborhoods and help get people to vote. They can support really great, exciting, energetic candidates that they're proud to tell their friends about, asking them to support and vote and donate and things like that. I ultimately see my job as to turn out every voter, just to try to get the word out and make sure that people know to vote, and that they're excited about our candidates, and that they believe that Democrats represent them. And so, I think we're doing a pretty good job at that. We certainly have room to grow. And, and I continue to fight to try to make sure that it's a relevant organization, that people feel like, it's worth their time to come and be a part of it, and it's not just boring procedural stuff. But yeah, and I think, some of our victories that we've had this past, year have demonstrated that, like, our work matters. I often describe the party as like the steady drumbeat, and that the candidates and the campaigns are jazz. Like, they're the sort of riffs in the music, but our job is to be the steady source where if you decide you want to run, and you want to run as a Democrat, and, we support you, then we're there with volunteers and resources and advice, and we do everything we can to help you win so that you can help more people.
That's pretty cool. Now, for those of you who just tuning in, we have Shasti Conrad, who's King County Democrat chair. Now, King County is the biggest, not just probably the biggest county in Washington State, with a high concentration of extremely educated, high income earners. Microsoft, Amazon, Starbucks, Costco, they're all headquartered here. It's a county rich with intelligence and abilities and finance. So it's definitely a vibrant community that we have here. How do you compare King County performance across all the different counties that is of that size in the United States?
Yes, so we are the 12th largest county in the country, and we are the 4th largest county Democratic Party. In fact, we have more voters than the entire state of Alaska that are right
How about
here.
that?
Yeah.
Very
And
complicated.
yes, and I also see us really as an anchor for the rest of Washington State. Most of our progressive votes are going to come out of King County, Pierce, which is just south of us, or Snohomish, which is just north of us.
Right.
And so we really set the tone for what happens, statewide as well. Yeah, I was looking at, sort of looking a little bit across some of the other counties, and certainly our budget is much bigger than most of those other counties, like Los Angeles County or Cook County in Chicago. Most of those counties, it's like maybe they have one major city in their jurisdiction, but in King County we have 39 cities. So obviously Seattle is a huge anchor. Seattle is I think it's ranked the 15th largest city in the country.
Wow.
But we have 38 other cities, that make up, and King County goes all the way out to, like Black Diamond and stretches all the way almost like Human Claw. Like it is expansive in terms of both just sort of the size, but also the type of cities, and that it's encompasses urban, rural, suburban, ex-urban, and so you have a lot of diversity, here in King County. In terms of the money and the spending, yeah, I mean, we are a very wealthy county, and you see the ways those dynamics play out in not this past cycle, but 2 years ago in 2019, Amazon spent quite a bit of money on like the Seattle City Council races, and really were very pretty loud in their support for particular candidates that were going to be more amenable to the policies that would help them not have to pay like corporate taxes and things like that. And it backfired. I think that there are as much as there is wealth, there's also a lot of activism and a lot of people who push back on the idea that elections can be bought, and so you have those dynamics that often play out,
Conflict
particularly
each other.
in Seattle.
Right.
Yeah.
We have only about 1.5 minutes left, and I have 2 more questions about Constantine and Harold. So maybe we can wrap it up in the next 1.5 minutes or so. So King County Democrats adopt a platform every few years. How are the King County County Council and Dow Constantine doing in meeting the goals of the platform?
Yes, I mean, I think certainly, we're very happy that we have Democrats in those leadership spots, like Dow and now Bruce Harrell. We certainly will always hold their feet to the fire. We see our job as it is supporting candidates, but it's also holding elected officials accountable, including people within our own party. So I think that they're probably in like the B+ category, but certainly we, will always keep pushing for more policies that help working people, help people of color, help folks that are struggling.
And Mayor Harrell has been on the job for 20 days. What do you think his priority should be?
Well, I mean, I think that Seattle is pretty broken. I mean, he less than 50% voted in this last election. I think a lot of people, we endorsed Lorena, although we are happy to support Bruce now. And so I think he's really got to bring the city together. So he's got to find those priorities that listen to both progressives and the folks who are supporting him.
Common voices. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're out of time. Thank you, Shasti, for coming on Afternoons with Monique and share with you your work and your perspective. I hope to see your work reflected in King County improvement and the political candidates that we will be having coming up here. Thank you again for joining my show. This is Afternoons with Monique, and you're on Rainier Avenue Radio. Signing off. Have a great afternoon, everyone.